Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you for your visit to Moody. Enjoyed having lunch with you there, and thank you for your leadership on the combat rescue helicopter. You mentioned in your opening statement, if we follow the law, meaning if the sequester is not repealed, the additional cuts that will have to be made to the F-35 and to other weapon systems that are important to national security. And that is one of the reasons I have so many questions about the cuts to the A-10 until the sequester would be repealed. And if I could, General Welsh, I know I'll see you in Georgia later this month. I look forward to that as well. And I know you're an A-10 pilot. This is not a decision that you've taken lightly. I have serious questions about the speed at which the drawdown of the A-10 is going to occur prior to another weapon system being put in place, and the potential for that weapon system to come in smaller quantities should the sequester not be repealed. And whether we like it or not, the sequester is the law, and getting it repealed is much easier said than done. So potentially we would draw down the 280 or so A-10s based on the desire to replace them with newer, more advanced weapon systems, and then potentially not end up with the weapon systems that we were counting on to replace them. Same thing happened with the F-22. We were going to buy 700 plus. We end up cutting that order to less than half, and we're talking about $3.5 billion here on the A-10s. If we assume that we're going to fly the close air support mission, and as you've said we are, and we know that we are going to support our men and women on the ground, the other weapon systems cost more to fly than the A-10 does. And have the cost premiums in time per hour been factored into the projected savings? And if possible, I'd like to see the analysis of that when you get an opportunity to, sooner rather than later if possible. But we also just made significant investments in the wings on the A-10s, and they do have life expectancy left. And I'll move on to another issue with the JSTARS, but I'd appreciate the analysis on the A-10 cost and the consideration of if we draw the A-10 down over the period of 24 months, what happens if the sequester is not repealed and we don't have the F-35s that we intend to purchase to replace?
Sir, I'll hold the longer discussion until I can sit with you and show you the analysis. But just to be clear, as we start to transition the A-10 out, the airplane that will pick up the cast load principally is the F-16, not the F-35 for a while.
Yes, sir. But we're drawing down some F-16s too.
We will have less capacity in every mission area. That's what sequestered level funding does to us, sir.
Yes, sir. I voted against it, and I hope that we get it repealed. And I think it's unfortunate that the men and women in the military and national security is expected to take the size of the cut, the percentage of cut that has been pushed down to them. And all of our secretaries have agreed that there were some things that we could do, and generals to reduce spending. But in the end, they asked us to do more faster than we had been anticipating. The JSTARS, and you mentioned this, General Welsh, earlier, as did you, Madam Secretary. The recapitalization is proceeding. I'm in favor of the plan that we have, the rapid approach to the next generation. I just want to make sure that as we approach this next generation of JSTARS, that we don't leave a gap in the capability as we start to pull the current ones down as they go in for depot maintenance. High demand asset, how do we plan on maintaining the capability until the next generation is ready?
There will be a loss of capability, Congressman. Back to the theme again. If there is not more funding coming from somewhere, and I'm not assuming there will be, the only way for us to recapitalize JSTARS, which I believe everybody thinks we have to do, is to somehow take money from programs we have, JSTARS being one of them, downsize capability in that area to reinvest and start to recapitalize. It's the only way to do it that we can come up with. I would love to have other money to do this with, but we don't have it. And so there will be risk as you start that in that mission area.
Well, thank you both for your service, and look forward to continuing these discussions.